We've recently spoken about the World Series of Warzone. We all know that this was a large competition, a large event that could quite well have brought out the legitimate streamers amongst the cheaters who were all sitting and hiding in the top content creators of Warzone. But unfortunately, due to Call of Duty and Activision deciding to allow these streamers to compete from the comfort of their own homes again, we're never really going to see the true potential of the legitimate streamers. All we're going to see is the cheaters thriving. But last time the World Series of Warzone did occur, many of these creators must have had some form of worry about whether or not they would actually get exposed if they used their cheats in this event. You have to remember, this is the top names in the Call of Duty Warzone space, all competing against each other. So why would they risk it? Why would they chance using cheats against somebody else? Although there were definitely some in the World Series of Warzone 2021 who seemed to have their aimbot turned on and who also seemed to have their wall hacks turned on. But this time round, World Series of Warzone 2022, are these same people going to be allowed to enter into the tournament? Because based on what we've seen in the past, World Series of Warzone 2021, Wagnificent was invited, Stu Kawaki was invited, Rapules and Lucky Shamu both there invited. You even had Z Smith invited as well. Now he's a member of Omit, just as Wagnificent is too. Mutex was invited even after the fact he had Cronus Pro on his desktop. He's a cheater, simple as that. Joe was invited, he's currently and recently been under the spotlight. Symphony was invited, who always jokes about the fact he's cheating, when in fact many people believe he actually is. And you have Aiden and Huskers as well, who were both invited to the World Series of Warzone 2021. I mean, you even had a team with Destroy and Zedlaner both playing together, so what is the World Series of Warzone? World Series of Cheat Zone maybe? That's what it sounds like to me. You have to remember that Wagnificent has been permabanned in the past, and you have to remember as well that Stu Kawaki's had a permaban in the past too. Lucky for Stu Kawaki though, he was able to contact an Activision representative due to the likes of Tommy, Mutex and Joe all putting him in touch with someone, and he was able to get his account back. And that was all because he told a big load of bullshit about his account being hacked, and the person who hacked his account must have used cheats on his account. How would he know if they did or didn't? How would he know if he didn't have access to his account? He was permabanned live, so how would he know? But he got his account back. But there is so many people who have suspicion within their history of Call of Duty Warzone gameplay who are being entered into the 2021 World Series of Warzone. What should we expect to see in the World Series of Warzone 2022? More recently, it's been noticeable that there have been streamers blowing up overnight, the likes of Capture. Capture literally turned up out of nowhere, no history in the Call of Duty scene. All of a sudden, he's one of the biggest names on Twitch, one of the most talked about, but he has one of the most suspicious gameplays I've ever seen. And even more recently than that, you've got Nadia. Nadia, who's got 5 different accounts, 3 of which are private, 1 of which she hasn't played on since May, and she is definitely up to no good within her gameplay. And it has actually been pointed out that out of nowhere, her gameplay, her game style completely changed. She went from being a bot to an overnight goddess, somebody who could absolutely destroy every lobby she entered.
AD, there's so many thousands of kills there. If she all of a sudden turned up within a week period, like what she did, and got all this growth, her KD is barely gonna be going up, even if she's getting...
Something doesn't seem right. Are these the type of people who we should expect to see in the World Series of Warzone 2022? I expect so. And let's face it, the likes of Zedlaner, the likes of Destroy, and the likes of Z Smith, Wagnificent, as well as Stu Kawaki and all these other people who have had the most suspicious gameplay in the past 2 years, the people who've had permabans in the past 2 years, these are people who are going to be entered into tournaments like the World Series of Warzone 2022. Which brings me back to the first point I decided to make. Why on earth haven't Activision implemented a LAN event, set up a LAN event, sell tickets for the LAN events, get sponsorship deals for the LAN events, and that would pay for itself, and it would get more viewership at a LAN event than it would while these streamers are competing in the comforts of their own home? These guys are getting away with it and have been for years, so why on earth should we expect Activision to do anything or change anything for the better? It would appear that Activision haven't given a shiny shite for the past 2 years, so what should we expect to see from Activision when it comes to the World Series of Warzone, the biggest event, the biggest Warzone competition tournament that we have ever seen? with the biggest prize pool of over $600,000. Every single person who enters this has the opportunity to make a big name for themselves, as well as earning a massive lump sum of money. And yet, they're allowed to do it from the comfort of their own home. What is stopping Billy No Name from turning up with aimbot and wall hacks turned on and doing the business in the World Series of Warzone and making out that they are better than everybody else who is in that tournament? At what point are we going to see the pros who are entering into these tournaments speak out? Formal, Scump, even TP, Tommy. There are so many names who are entering this tournament who you would expect to speak out against the cheating, and yet they don't. And for some reason, it makes me feel like they are not allowed to speak out. If you want to enter into these tournaments, don't speak out on others, because if you do, you're probably going to get blacklisted and you will not be able to enter these tournaments ever again. All these companies that sponsor some of these tournaments like Cash App and Boom TV and others, they're not going to want you in their tournaments if you're bad-mouthing the people who are entering. Remember this, it's not about who is the best player. It is not about who is the best creator. It's a popularity contest. If you are getting 15,000 concurrent viewers, you have got more chance of entering into the World Series of Warzone than somebody who only gets 100 concurrent viewers. That's a fact. Why is that? Because the companies who are sponsoring these tournaments, like some Activision, they want their tournaments to be broadcast to the most viewers possible. So they are going to have the people who hit the most viewers rather than the people who are actually better at the game. But in doing that, what they don't realise, or maybe they do realise, is they are inviting multiple cheaters into their tournaments, which is essentially tarnishing the name and brand of Activision. Not that they, haven't done that enough themselves with all the lawsuits and whatnot. But the whole concept of the World Series of Warzone 2022 being held in the comfort of their own homes is an absolute shambles. We already know that there are no restrictions in play anymore to do with COVID like there have been in the past, so why on earth didn't they do it? We are touching on the subject again here today, guys, because I want you guys to really understand just what type of people get to enter into these large money tournaments. Why on earth did they get the opportunity when there are legitimate players and streamers out there who haven't got a fucking chance? It's a big question to ask, I know, but I'm sure you'll see exactly what type of people Activision wants in their tournaments when the World Series of Warzone 2022 starts. I'm looking forward to seeing who enters, and I'm looking forward to covering some of their gameplay. I'm sure you guys are as well. If you did enjoy this video, hit the thumbs up. If you're new, subscribe and turn on notifications. And guys, why don't you go and check out this video here? I know you'll enjoy it. Thank you.